Welcome to part one of my jazz musicianship video series. In this part, I'm going to give you 7 tips for performing music in a small jazz group. So, tip number 1 is to arrange yourself on stage in a way that maximizes eye contact. This is super, super important, and this will come up again later in the video. But arrange yourself in a way where you can all see each other and where you'll be looking at each other and where there's no sort of question about that. And this is something that's so often overlooked and something that is so often forgotten. So just really make sure to arrange yourself so that you have as much eye contact as possible. My second tip for you is to always be listening for changes in groove and feel. Now, even if a tune is designated as a swing tune or sort of designated as a Latin tune, there may still be instances where that changes. So always just be listening, and if the groove does change, you go along with it. All right, tip number 3 is to always be watching for gestures. Now, this could be from any musician, but especially horn players. They might go like this to signal keep going, or they may raise their arms up or do any number of different things. So just always be watching for gestures. Now, within this, let's just call this tip number 3A, especially with veteran musicians, really top players. I've seen this happen, though it can happen with anybody. They will go like this, and when they go like this, that means that they want only them and whoever they're pointing at to play. So it signals a change in instrumentation. That is something really important to always be watching for, especially is this, because that signals that you may have to drop out, or if they're pointing at you, if they're going like this and they're pointing to themselves and they're pointing to you, then that means that they want to just play with you and have everybody else drop out. So it could go either way, but be watching for that, pointing to themselves and then to another person. That is something really important that I've experienced many times. Tip number 4, and this goes really for anything, but in jazz especially, is to just be listening for different interpretations. This could be different chords, different interpretations of the melody, and to not really get all that frustrated about it. And this is something that I'll talk about in a future video when I talk about sort of general musicianship best practices, but just be ready for different interpretations and just go with it. And that sort of goes with tip number 2 about changes in groove too, but that's just really important. Tip number 5 is to always be sort of moving around, whether that's sort of tapping to and fro with your foot, or going like this, or if you're on a keyboard doing this. I sometimes do this. That is not required, but just I would encourage it because it helps you sort of understand where the beat is. Tip number 6, if you are a chordal instrument, so that could be piano and guitar or vibraphone or anything, and you are playing with another chordal instrument, just please, this really is just a pet peeve of mine. Just listen to the other chordal instrument and lay out when they are playing, or if you don't, just do something really sparse. If I'm playing with a guitarist and the guitarist is always playing when I'm playing, I don't like that, and I don't think it's the best way to go. So again, this is my personal preference, but you are, by playing at the same time, you are stepping on each other's toes. So just be really careful and always be listening. And if you are a chordal instrument, then you have to also have the responsibility of leaving space. So stop playing, allow for the other chordal instrument to play. So that's just something really important that I think is overlooked by so many people. Really important. And finally, tip number 7, again, sort of applies to chordal instruments. If you are playing and you're playing over a bass solo, You have to make the downbeat really, really obvious. And this is something that I learned the hard way. I can go into more detail about this later on. I feel like I can make an entire video just about comping under bass solos, but I've had so many times where the bass player gets a little bit frustrated with me because I'm not making the downbeat obvious, and I'm either playing too much or I'm playing too little, or I'm just not doing what they want, and it's just not, it doesn't really work. So a tip to just make a bass player happy during their solo is to just make the downbeats really, really obvious. And I don't care how you do it, just make the downbeats obvious in your comping. And again, I can do an entire video, and probably will, about playing over bass solos. So those are my 7 short, very, very brief, but hopefully helpful tips about playing jazz in a small ensemble. Now, many of these tips can also transfer to large ensembles. I will have an entirely separate video about large ensembles coming later on, so look forward to that. So this is my first installment of my jazz musicianship video. So if you like this, please share it, please leave a comment, and please subscribe to this channel so I can keep delivering the content you all love. Thank you for watching.